Hello viewers, welcome to my channel IITJ Olympiads and AP Physics with Ambarish. And for today's video, I've picked up a very interesting puzzle from University of Chicago Graduate Problems in Physics. That's This problem has been published in many places. In fact, there have been quite a few research papers written on this problem, and many of you had been requesting me for a nice problem on rotational mechanics. I hope you'll be very happy looking at this problem. It's a very challenging problem and a little bit non-conventional. So let's get into the problem straight away. Okay. So what's the problem? A thin uniform chimney is pivoted at its low end. So imagine that this chimney is pivoted over here. So you can think of it, think of chimney as a hollow kind of cylinder, thin hollow cylinder kind of arrangement. Cross section is very thin. Okay, and falling chimney can be modeled as if it is pivoted on the lower end. Okay, they show that a section through the chimney at any point undergoes a flexion stress. Now this might be confusing to you. What's the meaning of flexion stress? So I'll explain this to you, what we mean by flexion stress. See, imagine when you are bending a bamboo bar or something. So imagine there are fibers in this. So when you are trying to bend this bamboo bar, you'll see that some fibers will be in tension and the upper fibers will be in tension and the lower fibers will be in kind of compression. So on the cross section, if you look at the cross section, there will be portions where there will be compressive stresses and there will be tensile stresses, right? So that's what we mean by the flexion stress. So we have to show that a section through the chimney at any point undergoes a flexion stress. Okay, or in the simple terms, if we want we can say that there will be a bending moment due to the internal fibers being in tension or compression. So that's what's the meaning of the flexion stress. Okay, and calculate the most probable point of rupture as the chimney falls. So see, as the chimney is falling at general x, there will be some flexion stress, or you can say bending moment, and also there will be some shear stress as we'll see in the solution. And you have to calculate that from where will the chimney fracture. If at all it fractures, you have to locate the point where the chimney fractures. So if you want, you can give it a try. In fact, this was also asked in one of our tests, and most students were not able to do it. In one of the grand tests, this problem came. Okay, so if you want, you can give it some 10-15 minutes and then you can look at my solution. I'll get into my solution right away. Okay, so now let us consider the chimney after it has tilted through an angle theta. Okay, so the chimney has tilted through some angle theta, and I've just drawn a sectional FBD. It's not yet broken. I mean, it might be at the verge of breaking, but I've just shown the split section. It is actually continuous body only. Just for the purpose of drawing FBD, I've shown the two split sections of the lower part and the upper part, and I've considered the section at a general x. Okay, so what are the forces acting on this section? As I told you that there will be some fibers, some of them will be in tension and some of them will be in compression because of the tendency of bending in the chimney. So without loss of generality, I can assume that there is some torque due to the bending moment, and I'm calling this torque as tau. Okay, so I'm for the lower half, I've assumed this tau like this, and the upper half, the reaction torque, I've assumed in the opposite direction. And it does not matter what sense you take the torque. If you're not able to figure out the direction of the torque by intuition, you can take any direction, and if it comes out negative, it's opposite of that, right? Similarly, without loss of generality, I can also say that the particles will be exerting some shear stress. Okay, let's say the shear stress is capital F and capital F action reaction pair like this, and then I'll try to make the equation and solve for F. So we'll solve for the what is the torque required at section x and what is the shearing force required at section at a distance x, and then we'll see where there is likelihood of rupturing. Okay, so I hope you understood the origin of the flexion torque, because there will be internal compression and internal tensile forces. So that's the cause of that's the source of flexure stress, right? And shear stress, suppose I stop the chimney in between, then this the upper part will have a tendency to slip down. So there will be some kind of shear stress to prevent it from slipping down. Okay, so that's the origin of the shear stress. I hope you have some intuition now why there is some flexion stress and why there is shear stress. Okay, now I'll make the torque equation about the pivot. So I am assuming that chimney can be treated like rod for the purpose of calculating angular acceleration, although it does have a finite cross section. The cross section is not literal 0, so that's why there will be some bending torque of the bending moment, but as far as the angular acceleration is concerned, I can treat it like a rod. So that's what I've done. So the torque about the pivot is mg L by 2 sin theta. See, at the midpoint the gravitational force acts mg, and this is L by 2, and then there is sin theta. Okay, so mg L by 2 sin theta, that should be equal to I alpha. So what is the moment of inertia? That is ml square by 3. So I hope equation 1 is clear to all of you. Now, as I said, here we have assumed the chimney to be sufficiently thin but not having literal 0 cross section. So internal bending moment will not be ignored. Okay. So far I have not considered the sectional FBD. This equation I have written for the entire chimney. Now I am going to consider the sectional free body diagram of the lower part of the chimney and the upper part of the chimney. Okay. So now we make the torque equation for the lower part about the pivot. Okay. So for lower part there is shearing force and then there is bending torque. Okay. And of course there is then gravitational force, and proportional to mass, its mass is going to be m by L into x, right? And that into g is the gravitational force, and then that you multiply by x by 2 sin theta, that will give you the torque. Okay, so here is what I have written: m by L times x into g, this is the gravitational force, into x by 2 sin theta, this is the arm of that force. So this is the gravitational torque, and plus the torque of the shearing force, that is x into F, and then this I have taken in the opposite sense, so minus torque due to the bending forces. Okay, or you can say the longitudinal tensile and compressive stresses in the fibers. Okay, so this is the torque about the pivot, and this should be equal to I alpha about the pivot. So what is I? So I is ml square by 3, but then you have to put, instead of x you have L, you have to put x because its length is x, and instead of mass you have to put m by L into x. Okay, so ml square by 3, there should be a square over here, just a sec. So this should have been a square, m L square by not the whole square, just the square over here. There will be a square. Okay, so ml square by 3, so L is x, so this is what you get for the torque equation. And if you simplify this a little, so you get this equation number 2. Okay, so now I have developed two equations. One was for the free body diagram of the entire chimney, and one is for the sectional free body diagram of the lower half of the chimney, lower part, not half, lower part of the chimney, and we have made the torque equation about the pivot. Now I can also make the torque equation about the center of mass of the upper portion. I have deliberately chosen center of mass because otherwise if you take about the pivot, then you will not get an independent equation. Okay, that will be, I mean the equation for the entire chimney will be nothing but the sum of the equations of the two parts. So that's why I have taken torque about center of mass and not about the original pivot for the upper part. Okay, so now what is the equation for this? So there is torque and there is shearing force torque, and this is the bending moment torque. Okay, so bending moment torque plus shearing force into L minus x by 2. See, this arm is going to be L minus x by 2 about center of mass. So this is the torque of bending moment, this is the torque of the shearing force, and this should be equal to I alpha about this. So what is the mass of this? So mass is mass per unit length into length of this, right? So m by L into L minus x is the mass of this portion. Okay, and into ml square by 12. So instead of L you put L minus x whole square by 12 into alpha. So tau is equal to I alpha equation for the upper part. So this gives me the equation number 3. Now if you consider the equations 1, 2 and 3, you have 3 unknowns and you have 3 equations. What are the 3 unknowns? So you have alpha, and then you have apart from alpha you have tau, and you have this f. So we have 3 unknowns and we can solve for 3 unknowns in terms of x, and I'll be mainly interested in the value of tau and f. Okay, so you can either do it by hand or you can put it in any computer algebra system and you can solve this system of equations. This is the third equation for the upper part, and if you solve these equations, then this is the solution that you get. So it's easily doable by hand. I mean, it's a little mathematical thing only. I mean, just elimination, substitution kind of things you have to do by hand, little bit bull work. And this is what you get for the shearing force as a function of x, and this is what you get as bending moment torque as a function of x. Okay, so now I want to find out where is this thing is maximum and where is this thing maximum, and which one of them is going to govern the breaking of the chimney. Okay, so now maximum shearing force can be calculated by differentiating this equation 4 and equating it to 0. If you do that, you get the maximum shearing force. I mean, just you differentiate it and put it to 0 with respect to x, and you get the value of x is equal to 2L by 3, and the maximum magnitude of shear stress comes out to be mg by 12 sine theta. Okay, and maximum bending moment, again I can find out by differentiating equation 5 and equating to 0, and if you do that, you get maximum torque as mgl sine theta by 27. Now still I have not yet decided which one of them is going to be the determining factor. By the way, this comes at x is equal to L by 3. This maximum happens at x is equal to L by 3. Okay, now how to decide which one of them will be deciding factor in breaking of the chimney. So now let the radius of chimney be of the order of r. Okay, so let the radius be of the order of r, and let fb be the order of magnitude of the bending forces. Then bending torque, the order of bending torque will be what? That will be of the order of fb max into r, where fb max is the maximum bending moment force, and if you consider the cross section, see there is bending forces acting, and the maximum r is r. So actually bending forces, they are acting over, distributed over the entire cross section. So but still you can think, suppose fb is the resultant of on the upper half, so bending moment force into r will be the of the order of the bending moment torque, right? Okay, so that means what? The bending forces, the maximum value of bending forces, that will come out to be what? That will be mgl sine theta divided by 27r. Okay, and see, r is much less than length, so we are assuming that in a typical chimney the length is very large as compared to its radius. So that means what? This force is going to be very large. Okay, because the shearing force you got as maximum shearing force was mg by 12 sine theta, and here you have mg sine theta by 27, and then there is an L by r. So this force is going to be much larger than the shearing forces. Okay, so that's what I've written. Since r is much less than L, therefore bending moment forces are much greater than the shearing forces. So we expect the cracking process to be dominated by the bending moment forces. Okay, therefore chimney is expected to crack where bending moment is maximum, and accordingly the chimney should crack at L by 3 from the base. So this is our answer. Now you might be wondering, was it necessary to differentiate and equate to 0? Could we have done by qualitative argument also? So answer is yes. Instead of maximizing the shear force, we know that this shearing force would be of the order of this is not the shearing force. I solved for shearing force. Okay, so yeah, this shearing force, this will be of the order of mg sine theta. See, suppose you stop the chimney anywhere, and if you let any portion slide, so this is the shearing force in this direction which is trying to balance its mg sine theta, right? So shearing force is going to be of the order of mg sine theta, right? And this is of the order of, see, bending force is of the order of this mg sine theta and divided by the radius, and radius is very small as compared to L, right? That's why here itself I could have said that this is going to dominate the process of breaking the chimney, right? So otherwise otherwise you can follow the approach that I did. You differentiate and equate to 0 to convince yourself that mathematically also you get the same result. Okay, so therefore the chimney breaks at L by 3 from the base. So this is our final answer. So I hope you enjoyed this problem, and if you did enjoy this problem, please do give it a thumbs up. Please share it in as many WhatsApp groups or Telegram groups or Discord server groups where there are students preparing for JEE or Olympiads. Please share this video as much as possible, and most importantly, if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Keep coming back to my channel for more awesome stuff. If you help me grow this channel, that's what will keep me motivated enough to continue posting awesome stuff for all of you. And That's it from my side. See you in the next video. God bless you all.